Today's video, I'm going to cover whether it's a good idea to use headphones for mixing and producing in your home studio, so stay tuned for that. Hello everyone and welcome back to Make the Music. I do a ton of videos on recording, mixing, and producing music in your home studio so you can create the absolute best recordings with the tools that you have. I have a couple free guides called the Home Studio Toolbox, which you can check out for free in the description down below, but let's get into the video now. These are headphones. These are studio headphones. They are made for the very specific purpose of being used in a home studio environment. But if I am going to be in my home studio, should I be mixing and producing my music with primarily headphones, or should I be using monitors or speakers? Well, there's a couple plus and minuses to using headphones in the home studio, and I'm going to lay them out here for you. Number one, the first plus of using headphones in the home studio is a consistent environment for determining what your music sounds like. Because we are in a home studio, because it is an unnatural environment for music to be produced in, because of the acoustics of our room, the setting that we're in, the situation we're in, it's not a pro studio. You don't have acoustic treatment up everywhere. You don't have soundproofing. You're doing the best with what you have, which is awesome, but it is not an optimal environment. What a good pair of headphones allows you to do is keep the environment consistent no matter where you are. So you could be at a friend's house producing a track with your laptop on the beach, or in your home studio. You're going to hear music the exact same way because it's the exact same pair of headphones. This allows you to get consistency. This allows you to learn your pair of headphones and your monitoring system and not have to deal with the room, not have to deal with any of the other environmental factors that are maybe affecting that. There can be a lot of issues, especially with mixing loud in home studio environments, because the louder we turn up our speakers when we're mixing, the more the room comes into play, the more the unnatural echoes, reflections, and bounces off the walls begin to come in and begin to wreak havoc on our balance and wreak havoc on how we make our EQ decisions and make our production decisions, especially on the super low end and high end of the spectrum. If you're able just to slap on your headphones and determine, very easily with a reference track where your track is sitting, where the vocal volume is, how much bass is in the track right away, and make some hardcore mixing decisions right off the bat, you're going to be in a really good shape, and you're going to be able to really craft your track much faster and be able to trust the results that you're producing. Second plus of using headphones in the home studio is the volume issue. So for example, if you are only able to really mix or produce tracks late at night and you've got roommates or family or neighbors who don't want you turning up your speakers, headphones can be a good way to get out of that dilemma. You can simply pop them on, put it at whatever volume you would like it to. I don't suggest having it too loud, but it can be loud enough where you can hear things, and you can record and mix whatever you want all night if you'd like to, because you have control over the environment. You have control over the volume of your tracks. It is nothing more annoying than trying to do a mix and having just to turn it down so quietly, which I do encourage mixing quietly, but if you have neighbors then and it's late at night, you don't want to bother anybody. Being unable to hear the mix is definitely not good. It's definitely not helpful, but the headphones allow you to make it whatever volume you want, and you can begin mixing on that. Another plus to using headphones is it's actually a bit cheaper than the studio monitors option. So a good pair of studio monitors will run you $300-400. It just depends. You have to set them up on stands. You have to set them up in the proper place in your room. A great pair of studio headphones you can get for $75-100, really kind of at the top end, if you want something that is going to sound really good and accurately represent the sounds going on in your recording. So from a straight up budgeting standpoint and logistics standpoint, headphones have that advantages over the studio monitors. You can take them wherever you need to go. A lot of times they have warranty if different parts break and you can replace them. You don't have to set them up everywhere, have to take things down, have to move your desk to a specific part of the room. It really kind of cuts down on the logistics and the sort of financial costs of having to mix, because you get one pair of studio headphones and you're good to go, and you can start producing tracks from there. Now, what are some of the disadvantages of using studio headphones to mix in a home studio environment? Number one is the learning curve. Learning to mix with headphones is a bit of a different beast than when it comes to mixing with studio monitors. Headphones at times don't do the best job at representing ambience in your track. They don't do the best job of telling you what the vocal volume really should be. I find it when I mix on headphones, I'm spending a lot of time dialing in the vocal volume, 2 or 3 dB down or up. It's not quite the same as mixing on studio speakers, and each set of studio headphones has its own unique EQ curve and response. It's unavoidable. It's just how these things work. And it's going to take you some time to learn it and do some reference tracks, take the track out to your car, take it out to a stereo system that you're constantly listening to, and kind of figure out where the unnatural boosts and dips are in your studio headphones. For example, your headphones may have a lot of bass response. Well, that's going to make your mixes thin because you're going to naturally turn down the bass because of the extra bass response. Then when you take it out to any other system, it's going to sound a little weak because it's missing that. So it's going to take a bit of time, if maybe a month, maybe a couple weeks, just depends on how much time you put in to learning how your headphones respond to things and how their mixes translate to things. And so you will have to factor in that learning curve time as opposed to using a different tool like studio monitors, where I find that the learning curve is going to be a lot less. And the second disadvantage of using studio headphones is ear fatigue. Because we're covering both of our ears with these headphones, now we're having the sound blasted directly into our ears. Your ears are going to fatigue a lot faster, and it's going to tire them out and then make it more difficult for you to make the proper mixing decisions because it's just being so overwhelmed with sound. Over time, as our ears get fatigued, we tend to boost the bass and high end more because we tend to want more and more and hear it because our ears do a good job of naturally toning down those frequencies. And there's the concern of, having some hearing damage. Listening too much on headphones blasted for too long, it over time can hurt your hearing and and cause some issues with your hearing. So keep those things in mind. That's why when I encourage people to mix on headphones, keep the volume at a moderate level, maybe just on occasion crank them up. But typically when I'm using headphones, I try to keep it at a very moderate volume to low volume. No reason to fry your ears with headphones mixing some music. Okay, it's not worth it. It's not worth to do that or damage your hearing. So you'll have to keep that in mind. Typically with speakers, if you're a good distance away, you can turn them up pretty loud with really fatiguing or hurting your ears. But with headphones, because that sound's being blasted directly, and especially if you're using like something like closed back headphones, there's no really bleed from the sound. So all of that sound is getting into your ears. And so you're gonna have to take more frequent breaks when you're mixing or producing with headphones, just to give your ears time to heal up and recover from the last session and come back in with a new fresh perspective. So what is the overall opinion? What is my solution to should we use headphones in the home studio? I say yes, you can use them exclusively. I wouldn't absolutely encourage that, but you can. I know a lot of people who just mix and produce with studio headphones and they get by and it's perfectly fine with them. They mix on an airplane with headphones and they get the job done. They're good at taking breaks. They know their headphones very well. So you can totally do it. But if you're a beginner in the home studio, I would encourage you to invest in both studio monitors and headphones. Learn how to use both because it now gives you multiple ways to monitor your mix. It gives you multiple ways to determine if your mix is translating. So I will mix my track on studio monitors, and then I will pop on my headphones for a few minutes and just take a deep listen and go, is this making sense? Should this translate properly? And I usually put on headphones that I know very, very well. I know how it's going to respond and sound like. And if it's sounding properly, I know I'm in the right direction. But if you're just using one monitoring source, you don't exactly know how that mix is going to translate, even if you're using a reference, and you may take that thing out to the car and go, wow, the vocal's way too quiet, the bass drum is way too loud, this is a complete disaster. But if you're able to combine the power of using headphones and studio monitors together, you can really create a good result even faster. Headphones are also a great option for if you're mixing a lot during the day, but then you need to make some changes at night or something, and you don't want to turn up your speakers too loud. You can pop the headphones on, and because you know those as well, you can make the proper changes. So there really is a big advantage to being able to use both. So that's why I encourage it in the home studio. But if you want to just be able to use headphones, you're getting started, you don't want to invest too much in studio monitors, and you just want to try something out, headphones is a perfectly viable option that you can go with. Just take frequent enough breaks, and I think it's a great way to get started for producing your tracks. So let me know your thoughts in a comment down below. Do you use headphones exclusively for mixing and producing music? I would like to hear your experiences with that. If you're having any issues with producing or creating your tracks in your home studio and you'd like a little bit of help, send me an email down below and I'd be happy to help you with that. You can also check out all the free content and guides I have down below intended to help home studio musicians. So thank you so much for watching it. Anyways, I will see you guys next time.